All right, so let's jump into it. So on-page optimization. So good, like we mentioned last time we were on the AU call. Good on-page optimization demonstrates how a page is relevant to the keywords it targets. In other words, it tells the search engine this page is relevant for X keyword. On-page optimization is really the foundation of everything you do in SEO. If you don't have good on-page, you don't have relevance, and that means that all the authority and trust that you bring in via link building probably will not have any impact whatsoever, even if you're getting the best links possible. If your page isn't, if Google can't see how your page is relevant for a keyword, it's not going to rank it for that keyword. It doesn't matter what else you're doing. And this, just to kind of emphasize this point, for low competition keywords, sometimes all you need is good on-page optimization to rank. If you're the only site out there that's really targeting a keyword, making your page relevant to that keyword, sometimes that's enough to get to the top of the search engine result page without anything else. We see this all the time with certain long tail phrases we go after. We'll do our keyword research, see a good long tail phrase that's getting all that could be relevant. We put a page up and it ranks nationally, and we get traffic from all over the country all the time. So good on-page optimization, sometimes that's all you need. Now, for high competition keywords, which is our bread and butter, the big X car accident lawyer in whatever city, that you need a lot more than just good on-page, but you absolutely need the good on-page to get anywhere. So all SEO starts with on-page optimization. Now, as far as on-page SEO goes, what we're going to be doing in this series, we're going to be covering keywords. That's going to be today, keywords and keyword research. Next week, we're going to be going into entity SEO. This is kind of a new thing in SEO. It's kind of it's something that we're starting to explore and kind of revamp our on-page strategy to be more oriented toward. It's kind of the natural evolution of being keyword focused. It's just the next step, basically. And then after that, we'll go into sessions on heading tags, which we usually refer to as H tags, internal linking and silo structure, as well as anchor text that gets used there, meta titles and descriptions, images, alt text, infographics, and then structured data, which ties into schema a lot of the time. But today we're going to be focused on keywords and keyword research. That'll probably get us through about 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll call it there and get into entity SEO next week. All right, so keywords. So obviously keywords are the search phrases that are used by internet users that you want your website to rank for. Ideally, these phrases should have regular monthly search volume. I mean, you can rank for anything you want out there, but if no one's searching it, what's the point? So a good keyword is going to have some sort of monthly search volume. Depending on the niche you're looking at, that might be 20 searches per month. It might be 5,000 searches per month. It just kind of depends on what the niche is, how popular it is, how much demand there is for it. But you want to see some sort of search volume for it to be worthwhile to pursue a keyword. And you also want to consider the user's search intent. So a keyword can have a search volume of 5,000 searches per month, but if the search intent is purely informational, that keyword is going to be pretty low ROI, even though it's got a really nice search volume. Because if people are just looking for information on a topic and they aren't looking to do anything beyond that, all you're doing is providing a good Samaritan sort of service. Like, you're just being nice and telling them what they need to know, but you're not actually getting anything out of it in return. Like, there's no conversions there. So in summary, the best keywords are going to have a regular monthly search volume and a search intent that is looking to hire or purchase whatever you're selling. In our case, that's going to be hiring lawyers most of the time. So just to give a couple of examples here. All right, so this is an example of a keyword that's got good search intent but no search volume. So we have here Las Vegas business transaction lawyer. This one has 0 searches per month on the local level and the global level. We're actually tracking this keyword for one of our clients, but there's really not much reason to, because we can rank for it, but clearly it's not going to bring in much ROI just ranking for this term. We're currently number 3 for it, and I don't think this client's getting any business off this keyword. Now, that's not to say that page is only going to rank for that keyword. It might rank for some long tail stuff that will bring in some traffic here and there. But targeting this keyword specifically, not going to yield a lot of ROI because there's no search volume. Here's an example of one that has okay search volume. It's got 40 searches per month, but it's only got informational search intent. Virginia workers' compensation, return to work. So that's probably somebody who's just kind of wanted to know how long they can be on work comp for before they have to return to work. There might be a way to spin that so that they're interested in hiring a lawyer. So there might be some value in there, But generally speaking, that's mostly informational search intent. So even though it's got regular search volume, it might not be the juiciest keyword for us to pursue. And then this one here is an example of good search volume and search intent to hire and purchase. Indianapolis personal injury lawyer gets searched 1,000 times per month. We're currently ranked number 3 for it. So that client is likely seeing some nice ROI from ranking for that keyword. All right, so before I move on, any questions about that? Basically the keywords we want to pursue are going to have regular search volume, and the intent of the user in searching that is that they're looking for a lawyer to hire or to buy whatever product we're optimizing for.
I would just add like a small caveat that there are some terms that don't get a ton of search volume that can be valuable to certain clients, but that's like a very client by client basis. We're kind of getting into the gray there, so I guess.
Yeah, and there you might have like clients that have like pet keywords that they think are valuable but that aren't actually valuable. So it's kind of like Kellen said, it's kind of a gray area where you might want to advise them against that, but they might insist on it anyway. If they want to pay you to rank for a keyword, that's what we do. So as long as we're being upfront with them about what the ROI for that keyword might be, we're doing our part. And then if they want to proceed, we're ranking for it. That's no problem.
Yeah, definitely. And that does happen a good bit. I would say maybe 20% of our clients have those things that they want to rank for. So that conversation does come up. But like med-mal might not be the most lucrative term, in a lot of geos, but like it can feed a firm for years if they get one case out of it. So that might not be a great example, but there are some terms that can be valuable without a lot of search volume.
Yeah. And I should also say that, there might be value in ranking for an informational keyword if it's relevant to the practice area, because that can help Google to think the site is more authoritative for that subject. So if you're ranking for a lot of like informational keywords that are related to law, that could help Google to respect your site more and view it as being more trustworthy and more authoritative. But on the flip side of that too, you really do want Google to look at a law firm website as being a local business site and not like some sort of wiki that just provides information, because you will get into trouble if we have seen sites that rank for lots of informational keywords are sometimes harder to rank for the intent to hire, intent to purchase keywords on the flip side of that. So if it gets out of control, it can really bog down your site and be hard to course correct from. So you have to be careful there. I should also probably make a distinction between what we usually refer to as target keywords and long tail keywords. So like target keyword, this tends to be more of an in-house term for Apricot Law, but that's usually thought that we usually regard that as being a keyword where like there's very little variation between how users search for it. So like car accident lawyer, for example, that one's pretty clean cut. There are variations like car accident attorney, and when you attach a geo to it, you can flip it around, like Indianapolis car accident lawyer as compared to car accident lawyer Indianapolis. But generally speaking, it's pretty easy to predict how the user is going to punch it into the search engine, as compared to like long tail keywords, which are usually like phrases or complete sentences even, and there are many more variations for how users will search for those, and it's a lot harder to predict exactly how they're going to type it in. So like an example of that might be like, for example, a good long tail would be, do I need to hire a lawyer for a car accident? There are a million different ways you can phrase that sentence, and that's what makes it a long tail keyword, is that it's much harder to predict how they're going to punch it in there. But when you get into long tail stuff, that tends to be stuff that's easy to rank for a lot of the time, because people tend to target the target keywords that they know how people will punch into the search engine. And the long tail keywords, there can be a lot of money there as long as you're paying attention to the search intent. Because when you get into long tail phrases, that also tends to be when people start getting into more of the informational search intent rather than the intent to hire or intent to purchase. Whereas with the target keywords, the really concise ones, we often find that the intent to hire is much stronger there because they kind of know what they want and they're not really looking for information. Does all this make sense? Anybody have any questions?